So I came in initially to UMG to oversee operations at Capitol Studios, which is right up the block. But bringing with me some of my TV experience, which we can talk about as well. And so I came into the team that oversees the North American recording studios from UMG, of which there are a handful. But one big emphasis for UMG, and rightfully so, is, we're not just a music company, we're a content company. And recording studios, which we typically think of, thank you, I hear me a little better. Recording studios, which we typically think of as sound recording and audio recording, these are studios. And so Picture accommodates, or can accommodate sound recordings. And so often when people are coming in to make a record, they're coming in and we want BTS anyway, and we want an EPK, and we want to capture some footage because we know how valuable that is as a marketing tool. People come in because they want to do performances live in not just a music video, but a live stream, and photos. And so the content capture, in addition to the audio capture, it was sort of constantly treated like an addendum, an addition to. And so part of what UMG's focus turned to, and what I've been focused on a lot, is how do we make visual capture a turnkey part of the recording studio experience as well. And so there's a number of ways that we've done that, and that includes bringing video and lighting infrastructure into a lot of the studios, but the idea being that if you decide, and you should, that you want to enable some content, some video capture during your session, we can really make that a turnkey experience, and not that you need to bring in a 3-ton grip truck and 20 people and C-stands all over the floor getting in the way of the artist session. And how do we do that in a way where we can capture using cameras unlike these, not too unlike these, I think those are not the Logitechs, anyway. But that same idea of how do you integrate cameras into the space, and if they're not being manned or personed, or robo-cams or 360 cams, how do we bring capture in? And sometimes it's because of a short-term marketing strategy. And sometimes it's because, if you've ever seen that footage that looks kind of grainy and was in the studio, but when the third single comes out and they look back and they go oh, here's the moment when Katy Perry was writing with Jack, what's his, I can't pull his name. No, but that's a good guess. Here's the moment where they were writing the hook for that song, and we just happened to be capturing it. And so, all of those kind of moments can really just help audiences have a deeper and more meaningful connection to what's happening, musically, but just immerse themselves in the experience of what it is, that they're viewing or seeing or participating in. And also
that wouldn't have existed years ago.
Or did it? No. This did not exist before. I mean, I think, frankly, I was mostly spending, half of my bandwidth on the day-to-day operations at Capitol, in addition to a handful of other things. And then when Capitol turned toward the renovation, I think some of my bandwidth freed up that became more of a strategic and planning plan around reopening, and allowed me to focus more on this picture side of the sound and picture thing. And there's the immersive audio thing, and I think everybody wears a lot of hats these days. I've certainly seen that from, and I know we'll sort of get into everything and dissect the frog. But I started as an intern in '99 at NBC, and that was very much an era of you have one job, you do one thing, you are a PA, you're a graphics coordinator, you're a research coordinator, and that's all you do, and you're a gaffer, and that's it. And I think we've seen in so many areas, and by the way, this creatively as well, like in the production side and on the creative side as well, where people are wearing more and more hats. We're all expected to do more and lift more and, you know, do that with a smile and with grace, and that's why I think, you know, it's important. When I started out as an intern, and this was at Conan's NBC show at late night, I just like would take a day and go to each booth in the control room, right? And you had Chiron, what we called it at the time, graphics, and music mix had a room, and broadcast mix had a room, the control room had a room, and I would just spend a day and sit like during the show with each of those booths and lighting, because I wanted to know what people were doing. And what's cool about that is the people who were in those positions loved it, because somebody was like interested in what they were doing, and people love talking about their shit.
They say it all the time.
You know, people hopefully like what they do, but they like talking about it, and they definitely like when someone shows an interest in what they do. And so that allowed me to be a bit more well-rounded, which later in my career proved very useful for what, you know, you want to know what the people around you are actually doing, better yet what they need to perform well at their jobs. And to bring that to today on the creative side, on the music side, and I don't know how many folks here are on the music side or music production side. Or
How many of you are in the music
feel
world
free to
of
raise
this?
your hands. Yeah, I mean,
It's a lot.
you know, there was a time, probably right around when, you know, and I'm